All right, and I had to stop at the grocery store, and I got 5 bags of groceries, so I need to bring those into the house. And maybe I'll do a grocery haul for this week coming up. All right, so like I said, I got 5 bags of groceries. I'm gonna take everything out and then I'll show you what I bought for this week's grocery haul. Trying to do more high protein, low carb, but I did throw a few extra little things in there just for little treats for when I'm hot and need like a popsicle or something. So just a few added little things that I got. Okay, and just to let you know, it is Wednesday and this should last us for the rest of the week. So let me just show you what I got. So for breakfast, I got some chocolate rice cakes, some blueberries, strawberries, bananas, some protein granola, some protein oats. I'm gonna try to make different kinds of overnight oats, so stay tuned for that video. If I come up with some ideas, I will show you this week. Some eggs, of course, some Oikos vanilla Greek yogurt, and then I did get a couple of different kinds of cheese, some feta cheese, some cottage cheese, mozzarella cheese, and Swiss cheese. And then I got a bag of the Tyson diced chicken breast to put in my salad. And then I got some baby spinach for salads. And I got just 4 Alanis, some strawberry sunkist, and the pink slush. Bag of macadamia nuts because I love them, and some whole grain bread. Do I really need the caramel macchiato Starbucks creamer? No, but I like creamer in my coffee, so I did try to find one with 0 sugar. I got the Justin's just classic peanut butter, the one with the honey and the maple flavors. They were like $12.99. This one was only $5.99, so I decided just to get the classic. Then I found these sugar-free tropical popsicles. So when it's hot out, I thought one of those would taste delicious. And then I just got some tuna fish and some pork chops and some hamburger. Gonna make meatloaf tonight. And then I grabbed this Newman's pineapple salsa, which I forgot to get a bag of chips for that. Then I always grab just at least 1 box of rice for just easy meal. And we're gonna have these. I know I shouldn't be eating these mashed potatoes, those kind, but they're easy. Just add water and a little butter and put them in the microwave, stir it up and microwave it, and they're done. When we get home late, we just want easy meals. And then I got some chives to put in my eggs, and I'll make some other things. So that is what I bought for this week's little grocery haul. Not much, but this will last us for the rest of the week. So I'll be showing you later in the week what I make with all this stuff. So stay tuned for those videos coming soon. Good afternoon, everyone. So today I'm gonna make some high protein, low carb pork chops with some sweet potatoes. So let me show you everything you're gonna need to make this simple and easy recipe. I have 4 pork chops here. So I will be dividing this up after we're all done cooking and separating it into little containers so I have stuff to bring to work for the rest of the week. So let's get started. Okay, so what you're gonna need are obviously some pork chops, and I bought these steamable sweet potatoes and I haven't used them, so I just want to use those up. So I'm going to peel them and then cut them into bite size. I have some Italian seasoning, some Parmesan cheese, and some avocado oil, and some Greek yogurt. You're probably like, what are you gonna do with the Greek yogurt? But let me show you. And you're gonna need a whisk, a regular fork, a knife, and a peeler, a bowl, and a cutting board. So let me show you what I'm gonna do. Oh, and a piece of foil to line. I have a glass pan here. You can use whatever baking pan you want, but I just like to use glass for this recipe that we're doing. I'm going to put that foil on the glass pan here, just so it doesn't stick to the pan. And then I'm gonna spray it with the avocado oil. So let me show you everything I'm gonna do. Okay, so the first thing you wanna do is turn your oven on to 375 and let it preheat. Okay, 375 and start. All right, so while that's preheating, we're going to get everything we need. So what I'm going to do first, I just want to make sure everyone can see what I'm doing. So first what we're going to do is take a little thing of Greek yogurt. I'm going to use probably half of this. I always like to drain out that little bit of extra watery kind of stuff on the top. And then what we're going to do is just take one of the knives and use about half of that. We'll save that yogurt for another recipe. Because all we're doing is going to be putting this on top of the pork chops. And they're kind of thin, so we don't really need too much. So we'll set that aside for another recipe. And then what you're gonna need is some Parmesan cheese. You can use kind that's in the can like this, or you can use the kind that's shredded. I'm just gonna use this for now because that's what I have on hand. And I'm not really gonna measure this. First what I'm going to do is shake this up a little bit and then just add that to the yogurt. And also, one last thing, I'm going to grab some seasoning. Okay, and I like to use this McCormick Grill Mates. This is brown sugar bourbon, so I'll show you that. And I'm just gonna pour some of that right into this bowl. You can use as much as you want. I like to have it very flavorful for my pork chops. And then what you're gonna do is just take the whisk and whisk this together. So I'll show you what we're doing here. We're just whisking this all together. So it's kind of creamy and mixed really well. It does get kind of stuck in the whisk, but all you have to do is tap it and it'll come right out of the whisk. So make it into a creamy consistency. And then just tap the whisk onto the bowl. Okay, we're gonna set the whisk aside. Okay, and then the next thing we're gonna do is open up the pork chops. But first I'm going to wash my hands first. And I also like to rinse the pork chops off first. Okay, my hands are washed. I'm going to open up this package of pork chops. And I'm going to wash off each one. First, I'm going to open this up like that. And I'm going to set the potatoes aside. And then I'm going to take the piece of foil and just lay it in the cooking pan, whatever you want to use. Okay, so that's all I'm doing is putting the foil into the pan. Like I said, you can use whatever kind of pan that you prefer, but I just prefer the glass one. And then we're going to wash off these pork chops, and then with a knife we're going to spread that on each side of the pork chop. Okay. So like I said, we're going to wash these off first. Okay, now normally what I would do is cut off all this extra fat, but I'm gonna leave that on there because a lot of people say it's good for flavoring, but when I go to eat these, I will be cutting around that because I don't like the fat at all. So the next thing what we're going to do is take one, and I'm just gonna hold it in my hand and take this mixture that we made and spread it all over the pork chop. And then I'm just gonna flip it over and put it in the pan. And forgot to tell you to spray the foil first with avocado oil or whatever kind of oil that you desire. I just like to use avocado oil. Okay. Like I said, just take the not the cottage cheese, but the yogurt for the Parmesan cheese. Spread that. And we also use the brown sugar, bourbon, McCormick seasoning. So that's what it looks like, just so you can see. I like to spread that nicely all over. This mixture is going to help keep the pork chops moisturized and give it a nice flavor. And I'm using thinly cut pork chops in case you're wondering what kind of pork chops I'm using. You could use thicker ones, so you'll have to adjust the timing for thicker ones. But I'm going to cook these for 15 to 20 minutes on each side, making sure the pork chop is cooked thoroughly. Okay, again, coated nicely. Okay. Let me just show you what they look like. Now that they're in the pan, I'm just going to coat each one of them with the mixture that I have made and spread that on the other side of the pork chops. Okay, so pork chops are in the pan. And now the remaining of the mixture, we're just going to spread on the rest of the other side. And this should probably only take you maybe 5-10 minutes to do. I'm just doing it a little bit slower so you can see what I'm doing. And like I said, you don't need to use the whole thing of yogurt unless you like a lot of extra protein on your pork chops. But half of the little cup of that yogurt should be plenty. Okay. Let me show you. So that's the 4 pork chops. And then, of course, I'm gonna let them slide down to the bottom of the pan because up here at the top, we're gonna put the sweet potatoes. Okay, so for now, we're gonna set those aside. Okay, so next what we're going to do is take our cutting board, open up the bag of sweet potatoes. If you don't have sweet potatoes, you can use regular potatoes. And what we're gonna do is peel the skin. I don't like skin when I do meals like this. Okay, the oven is ready. Okay, let's see here. You don't have to peel yours. Like I said, I just don't like the skin on mine. All right, as I'm peeling these sweet potatoes, I noticed that they're not good anymore, so we're not gonna use these now. So sorry, we won't be using these. They might have been sitting around a little too long, so I won't be using those today. But normally I would be using up the sweet potatoes, so we're just gonna get rid of these for now. Okay, sorry about that. Things like that sometimes happen, so you just have to improvise. So I'm not going to be cooking the sweet potatoes, and I'll come up with something else to cook with the pork chops. So I'm just going to put these back in the middle of the pan now that we're not using the sweet potatoes. So sorry about that. And then we're just going to take some of this Italian seasoning. You can use whatever kind of seasoning you want. And we're just going to sprinkle that on top of the pork chops. And I'm just going to coat them lightly. Okay. I don't want to coat them too much because I'm trying not to add too much carbs to this meal. So here are the pork chops. Looking good. I will show you a close-up of them. Okay, and here are the pork chops, and I'm going to place them into the oven. Okay, and we're gonna cook these for about 15 minutes on each side. Well, 15 to 20 minutes. I will set a timer for 15, check them, see if they're done, and then I'm gonna flip them over. Cook for 15 minutes. We'll set a timer, and when they're done, I will show you what they look like, and then we'll flip them over. So sorry again that the sweet potatoes weren't good, but that's what I had planned on making today. So I do say sorry for that, and we'll come up with something else to use. All right, so I'm going to just improvise and use this Success boil in a bag jasmine rice. This is fragrant Thai rice. I'm probably gonna add a little seasoning to this after I get done cooking it, but let me show you. It comes in one of these little bags, and what you want to do is take a pan and fill it up with water. This pan's kind of big, so I filled it about halfway, and after that boils, I'm just gonna place the rice in here and let that cook for, let me see how long it says to cook it for. All right. So you want to boil it for about 8 to 10 minutes. So once that boils, I will cook that rice, and then we'll divide that rice and add a little seasoning to it. Probably add a little bit of chives and maybe cut up a pepper and put that in the rice just to improvise a little bit. All right. And this kind of rice does have 7 grams of protein in the whole bag. So I'm going to be dividing that up, so it's not much protein. It does have a lot of carbs, but I had to improvise since those sweet potatoes weren't any good. So I will be dividing that up, and to add a little bit more protein to the meal, I'm going to add probably about a half a cup of cottage cheese to each little bowl that I make with these. Okay, now that it's been 15 minutes, we're just gonna turn off the oven. I'll turn off the cooking time. We're gonna open the oven, and let me grab a pot holder. I'm just gonna pull these out and flip them over with a fork. So let me grab a fork. Right, I'm just gonna take a pot holder and pull these out. And as you can see, they're already looking nice and juicy. Sorry. Try to keep the camera still. So I'm gonna flip these over. Looking good. Okay. And then we're going to cook them for another 15 minutes. Okay, close the oven and set the timer for 15 minutes and bake at 375. All right, so that's going to heat back up. All right, while that's heating back up, we'll check to see if the water's boiled yet for the rice. Okay, and the water is just starting to boil, so we'll let that continue to boil before we put the rice in the water. And I'm going to use a bento box. I like this one. I found this at Target, I believe, or maybe it was Marshall's, I'm not sure. But I like this one because it came with a spoon and a fork, and the other side of that spoon has a knife at the end. And then I like it because it has 2 dividers in here. So I'll probably put on the left side, I'll put the pork chop with the rice, and on the right side I will put the cottage cheese. So when we get to this part, I will show you how I divided it. And I will be making, again, 4 of these for the rest of the week. Okay, and for the cottage cheese, I just used this Daisy cottage cheese. This has 13 grams of protein for every half a cup that you use. So that's why I'm gonna use that, just to have a little bit extra protein with this meal. Okay, and while the rest of that stuff is cooking, I'm just gonna use, like I said, half a cup. And we're gonna take a spoon and scoop the cottage cheese and measure it into the measuring cup. And I just like to smooth it out. So there we go, I got half a cup. And I'm just gonna take that and put it right here into the bento box. So like I said, that will be 13 grams of protein for the cottage cheese. Now, I don't know the exact measurements for all the stuff for like the exact protein count. So I can't give you the exact protein count on this meal, but I'm trying to make it high protein as much as I can. Like I said, I just put the cottage cheese right into this right-hand side, and I'll put the pork chop and the rice on that side. Right, now that the water has come to a boil, I'm just gonna drop the rice right in here. And I'm just going to take my fork and just push it down into the water. And we'll let that cook for about 8 to 10 minutes. And I'm just showing this for those of you that haven't cooked rice in a bag before. Okay, so the pork chops have cooked on the other side for 15 minutes. So I'm just going to check on those. So let me just check on those. And because I like my pork chops well done, I'm going to flip them over again and cook them for an extra 10 minutes just to make sure they're well done. But they're looking really, really good so far and nice and juicy. Okay, now the rice is done and I'm just gonna shut that off. And then I'm just going to take it out of that bag and put it into a bowl. Cut up a orange pepper and put that in there and add a little bit of chives to it, just to give it a little bit more flavor. Okay, and you know when the rice is done when the bag starts to get nice and fluffy and looks pretty full. So I'm gonna cut that open and pour it into this bowl. Cut up this orange pepper and, like I said, add some chives. So something a little different than the sweet potato, but just something different because I could not use those sweet potatoes. Okay, so this is the rice and the peppers and the chives. So I'm just gonna give that a stir. But first we're gonna check on those pork chops now that they're done. And these pork chops are looking really, really good. So as you can see, they have a light brown coating on them. So when they turn to about this light brown, then you know they're done. You could take a temperature thing to make sure. I think pork chops need to be cooked until like 165 degrees, something like that. The inside, something like that I read. I'm not quite sure, so you can check on that yourself. But I will be reheating these anyways when I go to eat them, so they'll be getting cooked a little bit more anyways. So let me show you what I'm going to do with those. First, I'm going to just let them sit here for a few minutes just so they soak up some of the juice, and then I'll put it into the bento box with the rice and the cottage cheese. Okay, so now that the rice is mixed up pretty well, I'm just going to take this half cup and take a scoop. So about that much, and place it into this little bento along with the cottage cheese. So it's like that. And then I'm just going to take one of the pork chops and put it in here. Okay, and here's your meal. Let me just show you a close-up. So there we have our high protein pork chop, cottage cheese, and some rice with peppers and a little bit of chives. So if you're looking for something easy to make with a little bit of protein for your meals, for your lunch or for your dinner, I would highly recommend this. It tastes so good. Okay, the rice with the peppers and the chives tastes really good. Highly recommend that. And I'm just gonna take a little piece of the pork chop and give it that a little bit of a try, right? So just cut a little piece off and I'm gonna give that a little bit of a try. It's nice and tender. It's not dry at all. I think by adding that yogurt helps give it a little bit of flavor with the seasoning that I used and a little bit of the breadcrumbs on it. So anyways, I give that a try. Thank you for watching today, and stay tuned as I make more delicious meals coming this week. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Okay, and I just want to show you one last thing. So if you use the foil, it makes life much easier for cleanup. I just fold the foil up. Make sure the juices don't come out. I'll toss that in the garbage. And see, by doing that, the pan is not all gross, and you can wash it out nice and easily and put it back into your cupboard without having to soak it. So just a little tip on that.